Hey, last weekend, babe, we talked about the vow of priority, the first vow in this marriage and love series. And the actual vow is simply this: I promise that God will be first and my spouse second. How do you practically, for yourself personally, how do you make God first?
I personally just have to, I have to be really brutally honest with myself that I can't go a day without spending time with him. I have done it before, and it doesn't turn out very good. I just need the truth. I need the truth from God's word. I need the truth from God speaking in my heart, so that I make choices during the day that are good. I just can never fool myself into thinking that I can get by without it, because I can't.
So brutal honesty. I like that. What's that practical look like every day? I mean, how do you then make God first on there? Say tomorrow, for example, how will you do that?
Well, I personally, I have to schedule it in every single day.
Okay.
I have to do it the very first thing that I wake up. Because as much as I'd like to think that I can control, how things might flow through the day, it can be a little bit nuts unless I set a time. So that's what I do every morning, first thing in the morning. I leave myself enough time so I can spend time reading the Bible and praying, and because I have to have it. So
my hero, because you're up at 5 a.m. and you're making that happen. So you are an illustrated sermon for programming your priorities.
I'd be lying to say it happened every single day, because sometimes I botch, and I'm not brutally honest with myself. But most of the time, I know I and the more you do it, the more of a habit it becomes in it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Helps.
Because here, I'm thinking back, you've kind of demonstrated that for me as my wife. For 29 years, I've seen you put God first, or at least try to live as God being first. God's the one for you, and I think that's been amazing, because you've raised 3 kids, you've gone to school as a non-conventional student, you've worked part-time and full-time during many of those years, very active in the church, leading a small group, assisting leading a small group, and yet you still make sure God is first. And so you set some time aside, you do it in the morning, but I see you sometimes reading at nighttime. So what are you reading at night? Are you reading a novel?
Well, sometimes I just read for fun, something for fun. Sometimes I read books that build me up, like right now I'm in the middle of reading a book called A Confident Heart by Renee Swope that Cherie Brown recommended to me, which I'm really liking. So
okay, now babe, we got families that are maybe feeling really stressed right now. School started and life is crazy. Maybe work is picking up, or there's maybe even some layoffs. So the stress factor may be increasing exponentially in some people's homes. Maybe some of our blended families are finding some new challenges. What can they do? What can they do to make sure God is first in their family? Not just their personal life, but how do they bring God and place Him first for one family under God?
Right.
How do you do that?
Every family has unique challenges and unique stresses, and I don't know any families that aren't under stress, at some level. But pretty much, as we were raising our kids, or just having or even as our family, just you and me by ourselves now, everyone, I've heard people say this before, and other people may have heard this too. You have 24 hours in a day. Everybody does. You have no more, you have no less. And unless you choose what you're going to put in it, you can choose what's going to be in it and prioritize what you know are the most important things to you, or you can let your schedule and other people and the whims of life just push you around and put in it what other things there are. I don't know how to more nicely say that, because you choose.
Yeah. So regardless of,
line, doesn't it?
But it's easy sometimes to assume. I know, as even in my own life, sometimes it's easy to assume we're the exception with our busyness, but we're not really. No. Everybody has stressful moments. Everybody goes through seasons where life is hard, and it comes down to choices. You just said that, and I think a preacher said, once. Program your...
Oh, priorities. Yeah, I heard that. That was
an
very
awesome
powerful.
Yeah. And you're pretty cute. Okay. So how do we, as a family, make God first? Okay, made the choices. I know that because individuals, we can make God first by our choices, but really it comes out, I guess, the same way with our families. We have to look at our family calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking at dinner. I guess what made me think of this, we were talking on our date night last week about how you said it's so important for families to really be clear on their boundaries, their priorities, and structure it accordingly in their lifestyle.
Yeah, because you can't do it all. So you have to decide. You have to go look at your day or your week or your month and go, are these the most important things? And if the most important things aren't in there, then you need to start shifting something around, whatever that means for you, you know.
And that comes back to brutal honesty. Mm-hmm. Man, I love that. I love that about you too, babe. I do.
Well, I love that about you.
The brute part?
Pitbull you.
Hey, you know, some people, especially in this culture, in our world, the idea that you're second or, you know, someone else is first, and that someone else in our life as Christians, as Christ followers, is God. God's the one for me. Right. But you always hear people say, I think I found the one. Yeah. Does that make you uncomfortable that in my life, God's the one for me and you're second?
No, it actually makes me feel extremely safe because the decisions you make when you have God as number one are much better than the decisions you make when you are shifted off course with that. Yeah. So, yeah. That's cool. I remember even as a young adult talking with friends about, you know, who you wanted to date, who you wanted to marry, what you wanted them to be like. And I remember one of my best friends saying, I just want whoever I date or marry, I want to be eating their dust spiritually. And I just thought, well, that was such a great picture. That's what I want. I always want to have to be chasing down spiritually the person that I'm with, you know. So I definitely did that on my land. Been eating dust ever since. But you're second. You're two. Yeah, you're two too, babe.
There's a tutu there.
Keep going. Keep going.
I could roll with that. You know, I could. That is so good. So like last week, we talked about programming your priorities, and really you're talking about that. You're doing that by your devotions in the morning, your time with God in the morning, you read the Bible, you pray. And I've actually in church sometimes shared some of your journal, which is cool. And then we have to be pretty good about protecting those priorities.
Right.
And we do that by, like, for example, with our date night. Mm-hmm. And man, I so enjoy those times together with you.
I do too.
That's so awesome. So God's the one, but babe, you're two, and you're okay. With the tutu?
Oh, my land.
I gotta move on. Hey, okay, listen, let's close this thing up. But I think this is a lot of fun. And I don't know if anyone else is going to enjoy this, but I'm having a blast just hanging out with you right now. So here's the deal. Next week, we're going to talk about the vow of pursuit. That's going to be our second vow in this marriage and love series. And I don't want to necessarily talk about the marital side of pursuit, but I just like to, just off the cuff, what comes to your mind when you hear the word pursuit?
I picture a chase.
Chase.
A chase.
Man, I like that. That's good. So the vow of pursuit is about a chase. You know what? I bet we could turn this camera off and practice this right now.
Oh, my land. Oh, my land.
I tried. Jeez.